Alright, welcome to another part of Kied Plays Void's Blitzarre Adventure. I think this is part 10 or 11. But we are on chapter 20 of, I believe, 30. And getting into the last end part of the game. We'll leave the last third. From last week, I actually managed to get through 3 different chapters, and that was mostly because they were rather uninspired. They weren't particularly difficult, so that was a big part of why I was able to power through them, and they didn't have any real gimmicks, and some of them were straight up kind of empty, even. So this is this chapter. It's a great rivalry. Oh yeah, Maeda is the boss. This is a director or developer, primary developer for the current generation of Fire Emblem games, taking over for Shozo Kaga, who was responsible for the games 1 through 5, and Maeda 6 and on. And there's pretty much all promoted enemies, though they don't seem terribly stat inflated, so it seems for the most part fair. We've got pretty average steel weapons on the melees. He's got a brave sword, but he's a guard, so he doesn't move. I remember from last week, these 2 sages kind of puzzled me a little bit. They were unmoving and didn't have like siege tomes or anything, so not really sure what their purpose is. Though earlier this evening I was kind of thinking about it, and I had an idea that could make for a cool map design for something like this. Though I'm not sure if the coding supports it at the moment, at least for AI behavior. My thought was having like these unmoving sages to start, probably more of them than this, in a bigger map. But start them with just their regular tome, and then have like on the start of the first turn, or maybe second turn, probably no later than that, have a cavalier or like a trainee mage or something show up as a reinforcement up in one of the corners or something. And this enemy is carrying siege tomes. Can't use them, but the AI behavior would be such that this mage or cavalier is purely there to deliver the tomes to the sages. So they would kind of wind their way through and get to a sage and actually trade with them, which was something that happened in the Tellius games. Enemies would trade vulneraries between themselves and heal each other. So I think the coding exists, I just don't know if it's supported in like the GBA formats. But even if this were to appear in, say, the new Switch game coming out next year I believe, I think that would be a really cool idea as a turtling disincentive, because you're encouraged then to race this enemy to get to the sages. So you either want to kill the sages before they can get their siege tomes and start harassing your troops, and at which point they become a lot more threatening, or you want to try to chase down the messenger himself, and that kind of forces you to push on, and not go super slow, or as the strategy is called, turtle. It forces the player to take risks and to weigh more strategic decisions. But I think that would be a cool thing in another map. Hey, dancer. Maeda, I have found you at last. Now pay for what you did to my series. Presumably this is Kaga. What I did, I saved your pathetic series. I gave the people what they wanted, nay, needed. Maybe you did, but at what cost? Is that including DLC and amiibos? Roar! Yeah, Kaga. Kaga is our dancer, our lord and savior. A magic dancer, so that's, I suppose, well, I was going to say is modeled after FE4, FE5, but that's not quite right either. So FE4 had a bard class that didn't actually do any refreshing. The character was just a mage, and it was just called a bard. Yeah, he's got some good stats, but he also has, is that Wary Fighter? That looks like Wary Fighter. That is Wary Fighter. So his speed is meaningless. Lunge, Amaterasu. Okay, that's the Kinshi Knight skill, and then dance. But yeah, he's drops good single hit nukes. Only 5 movements. Definitely getting my pair of boots. I'm curious if it's got an actual animation. If so, what it is. Since I'm 13. Oh wait, that's 13 plus 8. So, not much. The map design for this chapter, aside from the stationary units, isn't particularly exciting either, at least as it currently stands. The paladins will probably come down on me. This guy moves, but pretty much everyone else in the center is pretty stationary. I just have to pick off the guys on the outside. I did opt to bring Cilicia instead of Anti-Arch, mostly because not Arch, I do think, aside from getting defense blessed, it has actually been stat screwed and pretty much everything else. As I mentioned before, I'm kind of casually playing through a normal mode file just kind of for kicks and to see what else I might have missed, and that file's not Arch is already, before promotion, better than my current not Arch here. Lunge. That would get Kaga stuck in here real fast. No way of getting out except for rescue. I basically want to just maximize my hit and minimize the enemy's hits here, because I can't double anyway. Though I'm planning on having Prin do the follow-up. Oh, okay, she can destroy him anyway. Not even in danger. So, black and white sprite. Okay, I do think I've seen this before. I've seen someone kind of tune the dance animation to be a cast animation. It's novel, but I'm going to turn it off because it takes forever. The same general reason I don't generally have dancers' animations on regularly. Those delicious Edgeworth buffs. Kaga's games are Fire Emblem 1 through 5. So the Dragon of Darkness and Sword of Light, Gaiden, the Mystery of the Emblem, Genealogy of the Holy War, and Thracia 776. actually kill this guy? Well, I might be able to if I hit. I don't think there's much else I can do to increase the chances. I've already got Edgeworth's buffs on everyone. Cool. So aside from that, those paladins and these, I have a feeling these paladins are going to be the only ones moving on enemy phase before I get into their range, which kind of kills a lot of the what was this? Oh, he's got rally skill. It removes a lot of suspense, or yeah, about as I thought. There's no real sense of pressure on the player. We're immediately getting boots. Hopefully they don't do anything evil, like take Kaga away at the end or something. I was gonna say it's kind of a shame that he's got a 55% growth in speed and can't do anything with it, but avoid is still a thing, so gaining speed is still valuable, even if it won't contribute to double attacks. Steel lance, steel sword. The easy thing to do would be just use tie here. Do these guys don't have ranged attacks either. I sit here with the Horse Slayer and they're gonna run into me and kill themselves. Maybe kill themselves, it depends on if they have so 7, 21, 41, 46. So actually that won't kill, but Kaga's defense and res 10 and 12. That's not super fragile, but not exceedingly sturdy either. 42 HP is pretty good though, and 85% growth in HP. But is the 75% magic growth. He's just kind of designed to drop magic bombs one at a time when he's not dancing. I mean, I know heroes just got, not just, but recently got Inigo as a dancer unit. It still sounds a little odd to say he and dance in the same sentence. Just not something I'm used to yet. Alright, I guess I will harass this guy. Someone's slow enough, even Samson can double him. Yep. That Brave Sword's not doing him any favors. Surprisingly small constitution for a general. They usually are bigger. It's just, well, it's only one difference of 1, so he's only taking a penalty of 1 to his speed. Yeah, that's a bit more of a regular constitution for a general. 15. Wonder why this one... This is probably a female general. There's no difference in their sprite or their map sprite, but that's generally the only reason you'll ever see differences of con amongst enemies. Yeah. One of these is male, one of these is female. At least as far as explaining those go, like this is a female sniper, and they don't have as much armor, so you can see that they've got longer hair. I think this was a male sniper Sages do have male and female map sprites, but not all of the games actually support them. Sacred Stones should because loot existed, but anyway. Going from Fire Emblem 7 to Fire Emblem 8, it was always kind of odd. The generals with their sword animation kind of felt a little awkward because they couldn't use swords in 7, and it was actually paladins that were able to use all 3 weapons. And then they took away axes from paladins and sacred stones and gave swords to generals. Possibly trying to encourage people to use more generals and to make paladins a little less overpowered, and they didn't succeed. I may want to actually block this off a little. 12. All right. Also weird. My Valkyrie is probably my second best tank. She just has fantastic defense and huge HP. She might have the highest HP on my team. At least immediately. 52, more than Tai, who has 90% growth. Right, Prin has the 130% growth in HP. That's why. I'm using Zigludo. His stat spread is just that good, and my only other paladin on this file is Leroy, who isn't really an option because I missed the earlier Cavalier that I learned about later. So Zigludo it is. Incidentally, he doesn't really need extra experience. I should have just killed this general with Samson. Samson's actually one of the few that's lagging behind the most. I guess we can do a rally skill here since Edgeworth was out of range. But yeah, I figured Kai's provoke is gonna get him one of these hits, and I just realized that I blocked off the other one from being able to hit Tai as well, so the other one's by default is going to have to go for Prin. Yep. Not a big deal though. Oh yeah, that paladin did have a female battle sprite though. I kind of like the female enemies kind of mixed in. It gives a little more flavor to the enemy variety without actually changing too many of the classes. It is a little unfortunate that the most defining trait is generally that they have lower constitution, which means they get weighed down more by their weapons. Amongst player units, female characters tend to be faster, and they might have tried to justify that by reducing their constitution, or rather maybe the other way around. Maybe in order to try to justify the lower constitution, they gave all of the girls higher speeds. Either way, it doesn't quite work out that great for them though. You're 12, so I don't really need. That was not a boss, so that was actually a 4% crit. Cool. Actually, Edgeworth needs the next pair of Swift Souls if those come, um, just to help him keep up with everyone, because it will probably end up being a problem with him falling behind. So yeah, without siege tomes, these sages are kind of ineffectual. This becomes a giant choke point. I guess we'll do this, because I do want to take out that sniper before she can harass me further. Not that she probably does much damage with a longbow. Yeah, it's less than 20 attack. Cilicia is not a great tank, but she's not like Kaga. She's got existent defensive stats, and with an Edgeworth buff, she's actually pretty sturdy. Prin's speed is going to be a problem, isn't it? He's got 45, which is actually pretty decent, so she just hasn't been getting speed level ups. Oh. There we are. These guys have Wary Fighter. So I just have to chip them down. Got a light brands. I'm actually gonna send Anna in here and try to throw some magic across the wall. See if I can. Actually, I'm probably not gonna get much out of that because this general's dead. Next general, the other one's probably gonna go next turn, so I won't be able to kill him this turn unless I crit, which didn't happen. Or Adept can just go ignore Wary Fighter. That works too. Get some defense, and then have those two paladins run in. Yeah, Ty's not gonna kill, but Cilicia might. Not unless she grits or gets Adept again. Like, I'm kind of hoping for reinforcements, but I'm also not sure I can think of a way reinforcements would actually make this map better. Maybe have them show up down here. That would kind of flank the player. Hero crests. That's something I definitely don't need. So put Samson right at the edge of my dancer's range so that I can take advantage of that extra movement. Still out of range to do much, but can set up for next turn. 8, 6, 9, 10. So Anna is actually the lowest of the bunch that can still move. So you got a silver sword. I know you've got movement range, so I can lure you out. Let's let Prin keep growing a little bit. There we go. Good speed. And of course defense. Right, these guys move as well. That's not terrible. Both of these characters have strong defenses. And I can even throw a rally here. Might be better to actually rally for Zigludo and actually just wall this section off. What do they have? A steel sword? Both steel swords. Okay. Even easier. And just... Okay, just making sure Maeda doesn't move off of his throne. The assumption is that if the boss is sitting on a throne 99% of the time, they're not going to move from it. But there's that 1% where your boss will surprise you and leave the throne and mess up one of your squishy units that you didn't realize was vulnerable. Sure. Yeah, I expected him to move. Would have been cute if he activated Astra. I'm not sure if he even has it. I like seeing enemy Wyvern Lords with swords. That's something that pretty much almost never happens on enemies. Lances are generally better weapons. They have the best balance between weight, accuracy, and damage. Though swords tend to be a little more threatening to the players, mostly because the player can't hide behind high avoid values, GBA game-wise at least. I was to say, why can Samson double this guy? And it's because Fimbulvitr is super heavy, and super heavy being 12, which is enough in this case. He does have focus though, so, well, 3% isn't bad, but Void needs the experience the most anyway, and she's got the Hoplon guard to deny any enemy criticals. I do like Fimbulvitr's animation though. You get some of that HP back. If not for its weight, I'd use Fimbulvitr more as a on player mages, just because I like that animation that much. I believe that's going to Anna. Wyvern Anna, I should say. There's the chest up north here. After which point the map's pretty much done. Yeah, no Astra. Does have advantage, but it won't really mean anything. So I'm gonna attack with Prin out of his range. I can start working on that general, but I'd rather give Prin the kill just for experience sake. It's another general with a sword. That's good. Yeah, we'll stick with the Silver Lance, but just end turn here. That way the general will attack me on the next turn, and weaken himself. If I had attacked this turn, I could actually have him dead next on the enemy phase because of his counter attack, his attack against me. But since I want to feed that kill to Prin, I don't want the general dead on Ty's counter attack. Keep Edgeworth up and relevant, assuming no random ambush spawns. I understand that why they didn't, but I do always find it a little disappointing that they didn't continue with the chain motif for the general's attacks when it came to extending it to the sword. Because it would have been novel, but there's also no way it could have been done that wouldn't have looked super janky. Like, if I weren't already used to the animations for the GBA generals, they'd probably seem awkward to me as well. Just interesting design choices from animation perspectives. So yeah, with that, we're almost basically done. Maeda doesn't have a ranged sword, so I can literally just sit outside of his from 2 range and pepper him with attacks, and he can't do anything about it. Okay. I mean, getting his strength level up basically just keeps him good at what he does, which isn't a bad thing. Can't complain. He's got. I was gonna say, Swordmasters sometimes have good res. In this case, it's just the hidden throne bonus. GBA thrones, most of them. I want to maybe gates as well. And I mentioned this in an earlier video as well. It says defense boost +3 and 30 avoid. What it doesn't list is a +5 to +10 boost to resistance, which is why I'm doing such little damage here with Cilicia. So it's 21. So I should be doing 10 damage, but I'm actually doing 5. So it's a 5 bonus in this case. That didn't help my hit as much as I was hoping it would, but oh well. Yeah, that's about what you'd expect from about 50%. It is a Sea's Throne. Oh, right, that skill. I'm not sure what the icon is supposed to be. I kind of see a face, maybe with blonde hair? I don't know. Kind of like the female mage's nice thighs skill. Doesn't do anything. The creator just wanted to point it out. Hello. Thanks for joining in. We're just about done this map. There was, like the last few, there was very little of any actual interest happening. Most of the enemies didn't actually even move, so they just ended up being target practice. And I'm just kind of wearing down the boss since he can't retaliate from range and doesn't move. I'm one movement away. Let's see, Ty can fix that. Ty arbitrarily has a movement rally. So what's in this box? Hey, I was just talking about another pair of boots, and I know exactly who wants them. Well, I can wait till after this chapter. They're not going anywhere. And these are also entertaining throne designs in that there's this throne here, but there are also pillars on either side which give defensive buffs. So they're basically saying if you attack with a melee unit, you want to attack from the sides because you get a defensive buff too. And there were a few of these in Sacred Stones, and I think less in Blazing Sword and Binding Blade. I know the map that this tile set is based off of. The your first meeting with Eliwood in what was it? I do not remember the castle name. But there are two chapters that takes place in that castle. Eliwood's first, and then the chapter when the two twins finally meet up, and both of those have the same throne, and it has pillars on either side that can kind of help you out. So, well, we're basically done here. Not much else to say. Can grab a higher accuracy weapon just to be a little safer. Even with Vantage, had he hit, he still would not have been able to kill. So this is level 5 Great Lord. That's a not actually sure what that is by the icon. Looks like Amaterasu. Oh, nil. Combat's Nil's always been that kind of skill that's really, really powerful, but super boring because it's not flashy and doesn't really do anything. Its entire purpose is to make other things less exciting, which good for strategy, but yeah, that's the nature of the beast, though. It's pretty necessary to Radiant Dawn too. Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn both really need nil in order to make certain engagements not completely RNG based. So I respect it for that purpose, at least. I have a sinking feeling that it might serve that purpose here as well. But we shall see. Alright. So that's that. 21. Doot doot. That girl. She doesn't look like she's in my way. Maybe I shouldn't kill her. Oh. Is that... Oh, it's... Delthea. Doot doot. Hey, well, she doesn't actually talk to Void. Yeah, this is Sluice Gate. Fado. With a custom mug, though. Named after and has a description of the king of Renai. Erica and Ephraim's father, but he was never the same after the fire. So, let's see. Graphic. Well, on the upside is I don't see any teleport shenanigans, so this is instantly easier than the Echo's Skyden version. All of the enemies are the exact same type as well. They're all magic users. You'd be good if you weren't at weapon triangle disadvantage against everything here. Tai is still really good for this because he's got pretty good resistance. Edgeworth being Edgeworth. Sigludo's got great resistance. Arv has good resistance. Excuse me. In my other file, I did actually train up Jerome. I suffered through these awful bases. He's alright. Not worth the trouble, especially not if you were playing on the harder difficulties. My other file was just normal mode to mess around, so it was much easier there. For the curious, he actually promotes to the super trainee class, so he changes genders and becomes a Malia with higher caps and a crit rate. But yeah, Gale Force is novel, but yeah, so as I said originally, he's kind of a trap character, and you're not really intended to put investment into him, even though it looks enticing. I do want to... How's Easter? You've got okay res. And I guess I can bring Prin because she doesn't. She's got magic soak at least in her HP, if nothing else. And I may be low manning this because anyone else I might want to bring probably is just a liability rather than an actual help. Samson maybe longbow support. Except I'm out of deployment slots anyway, so not a problem. And I actually dump in all of those because it just makes Kaga more vulnerable in this map. I was hoping for something with a little more durability, but okay. It's mostly for defense anyway. Do have that pure water sitting around at least. I did want to promote Anna, and Edgeworth needs boots. Needs a new pair of shoes. I might end up selling some of those promotion items because I don't need them. So this game's been pretty generous with the boots. I've gotten 3 of them, and usually you only get 1. Oh, right, we're full up here. Does anyone need secret book? Because I've got a bunch of those. Well, actually, I could probably use it. I believe I've heard Wyvern Knight is the better option for her, which sounds fine. she would benefit from, I think it gets better stat boosts. Meh, it's alright. I guess that's usable. Not this chapter, but she might. I guess like if I dump those stat boosters, I have an energy ring and 2 secret books. She would actually be pretty good. And I don't. I mean, Cilicia maybe take one of those secret books, but magic's really accurate, so that's less of an issue for her. Do need to clear up some merchant space. Actually, I'll take these promotion items because pretty much no one needs them. And the lockpicks as well. I can just sell those. I've got derp. Did not mean to hit that. And you can sell our extra lockpicks. And that vulnerary. All of this can go. He basically just wants ranged weapons so that he can counterattack, and then some kind of physical weapon that he can nuke with, which the Silver Lance works in this case. Don't need the Axe Reaver, similarly. I guess we'll do Silver Lance for Void as well. Alright. Let's go. See what they do. I like the song. The Alms theme. Fenrir, huh? Fenrir's 1 to 3 range is something I had kind of overlooked the last time I ran into it. Phantoms here are mostly going to be useful for blocking and baiting. So you could have at least given Siege Tomes out a bit here. Would have made it a little more threatening. Maybe they'll arbitrarily teleport or something. I don't know. I'd rather they not, but at the same time. And overkill much. No kill like overkill. 2, 3, 4, 5, so okay. 15, 25, but I think with enough speed that I can... So I want to use Void to kill this Shaman. She can one-shot him, so that's not too big of a deal. I mostly want to make sure that... See, 27 speed, 10. Okay, so yeah, she's not in any danger, even with a really heavy weapon, of being doubled by the druid next door. But this is shaping up to be yet another map that has very few enemies in it, actually. Which is good for streaming speed, but not super challenging or exciting. So that druid can only go after this phantom. Or I could just kill him now. Let's see. Or keep Edgeworth up with the rest of the party for the start of next turn. Probably the better option. Delphia does at least move. Arv's only level 6. That's certainly what was implied. Spare her in order to recruit her. That's kind of what it was like in it was a little more complicated in Gaiden and Echoes, but that's still kind of the gist of it. Yeah, I want to keep working on that dark level. Ooh, Luna. All of my resistance means nothing in the face of Luna. Probably best to bait actually with Void because of her Hoplong Guard. Hoplong Guard negating criticals, so the crit bonus on Luna is ignored in exchange for him ignoring my resistance, but the low accuracy plus these buffs helps push Void up to an amount of a Void that's, let's see, about 20% hit. So, no problem at all. Good, I can now use Perch Siege Tomes. Not that I got the only one I think that was available so far. Didn't want to tango with that Druid earlier in the game. Prin's getting buffs, so I can dance her over to deal with that druid. What's the actual objective of this map? Defeat Leon. I hope that just means defeat the boss, because there is no Leon on this map. Yeah, less than 20%. Just shy of a one-hit kill, though, in retaliation. You move, you move. You got Fenrir? Yeah. You got a heal. So 18, 19. Resistance. This is, I'm looking for someone to start baiting these druids. Since the boss has a Fenrir, I can't retaliate without a longbow, and wasn't really worth bringing. So I just want someone who can take a hit. Suppose I could have also used a phantom, which I still can for the other druid. This way, this guy gets drawn in and the boss moves in. And I could be done, potentially be done with this chapter in 2 turns. Next turn, actually, it's just have to kill the boss. As easy as that. This is Maleficar's effects. That's 1 to 3. This is 1 to 2. So actually, if I put Void here, the boss will be affected by Anathema. Arv. I think I might have said Void by accident there. Void sounds like a edgy dark mage name instead of the princess of our story. Well, that wasn't very productive. That's overkill. That's still overkill. Still don't have anyone to talk to her. So I guess we'll just kill this guy and see what happens. If it doesn't just end the chapter there, then this druid will attack on the enemy phase and will suicide himself against Void anyway. Thanks for saving me. I owe you a lot, so I guess I'll help you out with whatever it is you're trying to do. Sounds about right. Nice boats. With obnoxious spaces between each letter. Nope, so there she is. Complete with aura, too. Yeah, looks about right. She might be fun to train on a different file. I'm not gonna spend the time with her this one. That's too much. As good as she is, that's a little more babying that I want to do, willing to do right now. She's a low level in echoes as well when you get her, but she's also immediately useful still as soon as you get her, which less so here. One constitution. So her great speed is already unfortunately going to be offset significantly even by the lightest tome in the game. It's still going to drop her by 3. And I don't think I've gotten any body rings yet. I'm still stuck at 7 deployment slots. Alright, so boat chapter. Silica. That duck face mug. I mean, I guess Bishop is the closest class you could put her in as a... I don't know, I think she'd probably be better as a sage, just visually speaking. Sages can still use light magic and sacred stones. What are these skills? Nice thighs, Slayer, Miracle, Live to Serve, and Spur Resistance. So nothing real crazy. Slayer is irrelevant to me because I don't have any monster enemies. Unless you count Edgeworth or something. Because he's still civilian, not really a monster. I'm just assuming no photo available means he's so grotesque that it's censored. Otherwise, seems like an Echoes chapter. Though, entirely too late in the game. This should have been earlier on. Devil axes. All the devil axes. They hit like a truck, but Anna's gonna just laugh at this chapter entirely. What else? Other Anna. I can probably bring her. And then I kind of want to look at... I looked at Celica's skills. So she's got really high skill. Divine and Elfire. Both of which slow her down considerably. She's got 10 attack speed at best. 8 with Divine. Low magic. I think Void is gonna eat her for lunch. The other question is, can I fly over? Yeah, I can. Good. So I am probably gonna have Anna run through this gauntlet and give with not a care in the world, and then just rescue drop Void up here where she'll take care of this one pirate and the boss. No Arv. can bring Kirsten so that I can rescue drop another character, such as Edgeworth or Kaga. And I guess I should bring Prin for heals, just in case, even though it'd pretty much just be physique staff from the safe boat. Right, I wanted to give her stat boosts. Yeah, this is going on the third chapter of this evening. Continuing the trend of suddenly these chapters are not very difficult at all. Oops, not the Horse Slayer. Javelin. I'd like to give her a sword too. Because she can use one. As long as I clean things up before 7 turns, then Anna's not going to have any problems. I'm not sure if Kaga's even going to have much to do. I guess he can help ferry characters over faster, but if you're asking who about Kaga, he is my dancer. He is also the lead director, developer of the first 5 Fire Emblem games. Worshipped by some in the community. He's got anima magic. I'm not actually using it at the moment because he's better for dancing, but yeah. I think that's it. That was the general game plan. Let's give this a go. This is a remix of Celica's theme. Maybe. I regrettably... Doesn't sound like the one I'm familiar with, but I didn't pay attention to all of them. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. So 1 light brand should take care of all of these guys. I suppose technically Warp could have done this a lot more efficiently than Flyers can as well, but if I don't need to use that at the moment, I prefer not to. I'm actually going to skip some of these animations. Astra's actually I think Astra might actually be bad here because it wastes extra uses the light brand that I don't want to spend. the enemy phase is Celica's theme. I think they might have... What is... That is a ballista. Oh. Well. Alright, I'm gonna restart since it's the first turn. Whoops. My bad. Alright, warp staff it might be. I gotta check their coverage. Yep. Yeah, I don't think I can get both of my flyers, well, especially not with the other one up here. So yeah, that shuts down the flyer strategy. That's okay. I still have the warp staff. I have to make sure it reaches. For which... Here we have... I know you have rally strength. I'm gonna end up using Edge's rally strength to give a boost. Well, actually, if I just make sure she's in range of Edgeworth's buff, I won't need to put Edge in danger. Edgeworth's buff, it will do +6 anyway. So tack points onto Prin's magic here in order to increase her staff or her warp range, so that I can hopefully reach. Other than that, the strategy hasn't changed. I've had the support menu for, okay. I was gonna say, I've had the support menu and the preparations for a while, and I hadn't thought to check it, but that confirms that they don't have any supports, which I wasn't really expecting them to, but just in case. So, alright. 25. It's super heavy, so it's not meant to really double. You just have to make sure. So the problem is Edgeworth can get one-shotted by it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, let me go from this angle. 1, 2. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That should be good. Okay, so I can pick off the archer on the first turn and keep Edgeworth safe, because the second one can't reach. Almost can, but can't actually reach. And then this is going to be one-woman show with Anna. I'm actually going to just turn off her animations. So take 2. Incidentally, the map is still very much behaving like a Gaiden Echoes map. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, because I got one movement. Oh, Astra. So, okay, we're safe there. 25 damage isn't going to be able to kill Kaga. Hey, Flame Stagger. This is actually a hack, so it is pretty interesting. If you read the kind of description below the stream, you can kind of get why it's what's kind of unique about it. Um, they've incorporated a lot of very interesting ideas from a technical standpoint. There's no real story to it. So if you like gameplay, it's pretty fun. Because it was really hastily made, the difficulty scales fairly wildly, because I'm in a really easy portion of the game, but the early part was a bit more challenging. And I have no idea if later it'll actually get harder or not. But if you like Fire Emblem gameplay and kind of the unique sides of it, then this is certainly worth checking out. There's a link below as well, just to the patch. You have to find a fresh ROM of Fire Emblem 8 on your own Sacred Stones. But yeah, I recommend giving it a try. So what is my warp range here, from here? Can I make it up there? Not yet. Okay. From here? I cannot still. Alright. Oh, that's interesting. It's actually based off of the target. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I could actually just barely make it if I go up here instead. Though, getting the movement, the magic buff might also help too. Nope, apparently not. Next turn. Oh. Okay. Would have been nice if that was in your skill list. Ability to summon. Great. It also kind of ruins my warp strategy because I don't have space to warp her in anymore. Let me see. Yeah. Well. In that case, let's see here. In that case, I would like to kill that ballista. So I'm going to do this and help Anna reach that archer this turn by not accidentally ending the turn early. These guys fortunately don't come with their own ballistas, though since they're randomly generated, I think there's a finite chance they could. Suddenly wishing that Astra didn't proc as much as it has been. The rest of them will just run around on their own. Yeah, I expected that. I suppose I could have given her a tome back. Him. It is technically a guy, I guess. Oh. Whoops. Actually, I can. This is a dancer. I don't have to worry about being walled in there. Actually, Thunder's probably better. Just dance. I enjoyed Radiant Dawn. It does a lot of cool stuff. You can tell that they were being pretty experimental with a number of different things. I unfortunately think kind of some of the mechanics are janky to the point of that they kind of get in the way of gameplay. I'm not a I think it's neat, but I'm not a huge fan of how the split armies was executed. Mostly because it seriously messed with the availability of certain characters, like Fiona. Fiona got it the worst, but Vika and Tormund also, unfortunately, gave up a lot of screen time for no real reason. Biorhythm was an interesting mechanic as well. I preferred it in Path of Radiance over Radiant Dawn. I guess we'll go with this. Maybe not. I need more power. It was neat having biorhythm that was kind of gave characters a bit more of a personal flair to their performance directly, but I think it kind of was a little too influential in Radiant Dawn. And especially since there were very few ways of controlling it. It could kind of screw you over, and it wasn't great because it could screw you over when it wasn't your fault. Which is not great game design, unfortunately. In the later parts of the game, for the most part, you had the flexibility to play around biorhythm, which I think was what the original intent was, to be able to plan your moves strategically around upcoming high biorhythms and to bring characters that were going to go into a low biorhythm back into a kind of a more safe area. But the early game really screws with that because there's very little. You don't have enough tools to make situations like that consistently safe or consistently capitalize on the good opportunities. need a little bit more, but I also want to keep... Alright, we'll just have to do this and catch Edgeworth up next turn. What is your defense? 10 defense. Anna being kind of light hitting here. I'm gonna have to fish for crits or Astras, and I get what I asked for. Always nice when that happens. And then just have to kind of carve through the mob. Just like in Gaiden and Echoes, they've got massive HP and not much else. Actually, they've got pretty substantial strength and skill. These are actually some rather threatening zombies. I'd say a bishop might be helpful here, but the only bishop candidate I think I have so far is a rally bot. Though it was was a little weird that I was trying to use excuse me, Betty, the priest, earlier on, and I didn't feel like I was neglecting him, but he was still growing experience-wise super slowly, which is a little weird for me. I'm usually pretty good at leveling up my healers. And I suppose his rally spectrum skill probably contributed to some of that. There were definitely turns where I would rather use the rally than heal. I got bring Edgeworth back up here. Cool. Puts Void up at the 1 round territory. See. I have a English copy of Radiant Dawn, which Maniac I think was hard because Radiant Dawn's normal mode in English was hard mode in Japanese, I think, if I'm remembering that correctly. So if it's hard, what you mean by Maniac mode was hard mode, aside from inflated enemy stats, one of the big things was they took out the weapon triangle, which actually hurts the player a fair bit because the player is the primary user, the one who's since the AI mostly just attacks the player character that they'll do the most proportional damage to. They don't always consider the full effects of the weapon triangle, namely the hit rates effects. So the hit rate bonus and void bonus from the weapon triangle was mainly taken advantage of by the players in most cases. Let's see here. So when hard mode, maniac mode took that out, it actually made it more challenging, but almost arbitrarily. It's not generally considered a good way of creating difficulty by removing tools. Um, I don't remember if it was Radiant Dawn or if it was like Shadow Dragon, but one of the hard modes also took away the player's ability to see enemy movement ranges, which was another artificial difficulty, especially in the sense that it just was a quality of life thing that they took away and didn't really make it more difficult so much as it just made it more tedious because you had to, well, this enemy has 6 movements, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it can attack from 2. If you count out 2 more spaces, that's its effective range, and you just kind of had to remember that when you were moving your units. There's nothing else in this chapter as far as I can tell. Oh, miracle. Okay, that's fine. I saw a phantom of a thing appear in the corner, a character. It looked like a playable bishop, flesh and bone. I'm gonna take a quick look at this map, see how long I think it'll take me. This is interesting. Otherwise, as I might call it quits here. Don't want to get too late and don't want to go on too long. I've done 3 chapters already tonight, which is a good chunk. Interesting. See, this is some, just from like an aesthetic standpoint, this is some creative map design. Strategically, it's alright. Depends on how much reinforcements come. There haven't been much reinforcement at all from any of the recent chapters, so that might continue. But it's like a boat city, which is kind of cool. These are all pillars, even though they kind of look like chests. But yeah, there's a village. Village to visit on a boat chapter. That's neat. Horse Slayer to dissuade you from sending a cavalry over there, but nothing to stop you from sending a flyer. Brave Bow, but so close to the starting position that is guaranteed to die on the first turn. Reaver weapons. And Sword Slayers. Is it just the... that looks like about it. Good that there are multiple ways to approach the boss, multiple routes. You can go left or right and up. We'll probably end up splitting my party because I want to visit that armory. And there's not a huge... Depends on, again, on the reinforcements situation. A lot of effective weapon and unique weaponry is kind of neat. Mr. Bones, governor of the skeleton colony, detests all fleshy beings. Is the boss? Yeah. But yeah, the effective weapons are kind of neat. It basically just kind of means I have to check everyone before I engage, which is kind of a habit from heroes and fates anyway. But yeah, I want to send someone up here just to get that energy ring. But I'm going to save that for next time. I did want to see... Yeah, Celica did arbitrarily join at the end of that chapter. I don't know why, but she's on my team now. Got Celica and Cilicia. This is a hack, Void's Blitzarre Adventure. There's more details down below. I'm actually finishing up for tonight. Sorry I kind of jumped in right at the end here. But I try to stream around this time on Fridays, starting around 9:30. Colored stats represent or correspond to growth rates. So green is higher growths, red is lower growths. But yeah. Thanks for joining in, and hope to see more people next week. Celica has awful... I didn't take a close look at them, actually. She's got really good speed, okay skill, pretty low everywhere else, but good bases, except for magic. Alright. Good night, see ya everyone.